Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Escapades. My name is 𝗧𝗘𝗔𝗡𝗥 and as always, I am joined by Akshay and Anand to discuss FPL assets for the massive blank game week 29. Boys, welcome back. It's great to have you back again, a week in and week out. Before we get into the FPL assets for game week 29, Akshay, there's this one big thing that we both need to discuss about a certain FPL asset in John Stones. Uh, how was your game week 28 all over? I'm sure it would not you'd not be happy like I was transferring out John Stones and he giving a clean sheet as well as scoring a goal. What were your thoughts, man, and how did the game week 28 go all in all?
So looking at my team, I ended up scoring 49 points, and as we discussed in the previous episode, I did take out John Stones as part of a three-way transfer, which included John Stones, 𝗣𝗣𝗞𝗦, and another one. I somehow tend to forget that. So it was actually Mo Salah.
Salah.
So yeah, so happy that Salah also blanked alongside all the heavy hitters and. So when Salah was playing against Bulls, I was actually really scared because this tends to happen in FPL when all the others blank, the one who's most unlikely to, he ends up delivering. But the form that he's in and Liverpool, so Jota's goal probably a lucky one because Patricio could have done better. So just seeing that game over the line and getting a clean sheet as well, I think Salah wasn't anywhere close to getting a goal even. So probably the right call. But coming to John Stones, I think he has to stop scoring when others also deliver. So if you remember when Ruben Diaz scored, he also scored. When Cancelo got an assist, Stones also gets a goal. So he just somehow does not want to leave anyone like happy. So me having Cancelo, I would have been happy if Stones wouldn't have scored and City bagged a clean sheet, but he ended up scoring. But having said that, I also got in Rudiger, so really happy with that move because I saw Chelsea last night and they have somehow mastered the 1-0 wins yet again, back to the Conte era again. And one thing that I have noted, particularly when Thomas Tuchel has taken over, is he's actually brought Kante back into the Chelsea midfield. And we all know what Kante was about when he was at Leicester and when he came to Chelsea as well. But somehow he did not revisit that form. But with a certain German manager, I think he's slowly showing the same signs that we saw. And last night, I think against Atletico, he was my man of the match, and amazing show last night as well. So Chelsea as a team, they look defensively really solid. So really happy with the Rudiger move and Mason Mount. I think really unlucky in that game because Melier, if I remember, he had 8 saves in the game. So Chelsea could have easily bagged a goal, but that game ended up 0-0, and sad for me that none of my Chelsea assets ended up scoring. So I did predict Rudiger getting a goal, and if you were watching the match, he did have a glorious chance, but he did not finish it because I think it was an interception or deflection, something like that. But he did get close. So not really gutted with the Stones move because we've all seen the FPL community been discussing about this people offloading their City assets because of the fixture congestion that City have, and also the remarkable statement that Guardiola just made that he's planning to make 6 to 7 changes in every game week. So why would you want to be at the wrong side of that? So personally, not too gutted with Stones. So let him keep scoring. I have Cancelo, so yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, similar was my dilemma as well. I got in Shaw for John Stones, so did not really end up paying heavily for taking him out because Shaw, courtesy of his three bonus, was able to give me 9 points. But yeah, all in all, really great points made, Akshay, regarding this fixture congestion of Manchester City and Pep clearly coming out on the press and saying that, yeah, I'm going to rotate players. I still do have three City assets in KDB, Gundogan, and Diaz. And now, after watching how the Pep rule is back and him coming out to the media and saying that he's not really going to stick to one team, that gives me second thoughts as well. But yeah, talking about my game week 28, I scored just very close to your 48, abysmal 48, most of it because most of my assets did not play. Gundogan didn't play, KDB did not play. For some reason, I transferred out Stones because of the gut feeling. But yeah, that sort of balanced out with Luke Shaw. But yeah, Martinez, Target, Shaw, Diaz, Ben. Thankfully, yeah, Ben Mee, these kind of players thankfully came off the bench to give at least have 11 players return points. So that was a saving grace. But yeah, thankfully, Souček, Rafinha just gave 2 or 3 points. So I had better than some of the FPL managers who got 0 or 1 because there was a huge row of such teams that I saw on Twitter. Uh, DCL thankfully returned Watkins, who was my transfer, who I got him in, keeping game week 13 in mind. He returned as well. So all in all, yeah, I mean, I think it was a decent that kind of a game for all FPL managers, barring someone who's sitting amidst us, the third musketeer of FPL escapades. Anand, what a game week, dude! After it was long time coming. Finally, I think that week where you transferred out Bamford and him scoring a hat trick, that life has come full circle. And what a pick, man, Iheanacho. Happy with the game week, I suppose.
Not really happy because I had Dallas on my bench.
That is just plain being greedy, dude. You've got Stones and Cancelo and Iheanacho. That happens sometimes.
Actually, I had Dallas as my second sub. So Rafinha was my first sub, and Foden didn't play, so Rafinha came in, and I had
I think
Dallas as the
Dallas was
second
your
sub.
third sub actually. Aina was your second sub, who came in for Alonso.
Yeah, so so Dallas was actually I thought that Dallas was my second sub because just before the deadline I switched it. This was having fun with my team, and I saved it back on Dallas. But the moment I clicked on save Dallas, the FPL website showed a message the game is updating. I was still hoping that Dallas could be my second sub. So yeah, I mean Alonso didn't play, so Aina came on. But yeah, you both like Kshitij also mentioned about Iheanacho, I think it was a really lucky pick, and sometimes things go your way, sometimes it doesn't go your way, and I just feel that it was I had to choose between Iheanacho and Adams. I was tinkering a lot between both um, because the moment I heard the news about Cavani not being fit, I just felt like it's the right time and also expected City to rotate. So I felt like I need to have somebody. I need to transfer out Cavani, and also I had 2 free transfers, and I was certain about playing free hit by then. So I just felt like there's no point focusing too much on bringing on a player for game week 29 because I was playing free hit. So yeah, I just went with the gut feeling. I remember just a couple of weeks back, he scored a really good volley, and one of my friends, long time friend. In fact, I started watching football in a very different way because of him. So he has been an inspiration ever since. And but yeah, there was a time I stopped talking to him for quite a long time, for say around 10 years. But suddenly, just a few days back, we started talking again. And he writes for the International Olympic Committee articles for them, and he's somebody that because of whom I also ventured into football because he gave me a lot of he told me about the pathway to get into this field. So he told me, "Have you seen that goal from Iheanacho?" And that was something which he rarely comes out and tells me to go and watch something. So I watched it, and it was in my mind. I was definitely not sure because my plan was to make a team according to Game Week 29 earlier because I didn't want to use my free hit. But the moment I realized that I'll just have 6, 7 players, I went with Iheanacho, and yeah, it was just a very, very lucky break. I think, although he's playing really well,
Yeah.
but yeah, just expecting a 3 goal thing, it was not in my control, correct? It was up to Iheanacho and Leicester City. So just a very, very lucky day.
No, but
But
he could have
yeah, decent game, week 67 points.
he could have easily bagged 5 goals, and I'm not kidding. He could have easily bagged 5.
Yes, yes, I
So
saw the highlights.
Sheffield
Yes,
were
but
Sheffield were
then
all over the
Kshitij
place,
point.
and me having Pereira and him going off in the first half was an absolute bummer. because when I saw the first assist, it was actually Albrighton who assisted it, but I wasn't aware of Pereira's substitution by then. So I was really happy that right flank, it must be Pereira, who else? And I opened Footmob and I see Pereira subbed off at halftime, and I was like, not happening, bro.
Yeah, that was very, very unlucky for you because had Pereira stayed on,
I think he
he could
could have
have
had a
had
haul.
double-digit hauls.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Also, I also wanted to talk a little bit about Akshat, Suryansh, and Amit. So these three guys, especially Akshat, Suryansh has been a strong pillar for us ever since he has joined us, and I think Amit is our pampered kid. I always keep telling him that you are the most pampered one. Uh, you just show up for the episodes and you sleep all the other time or party and everything. So I just told him that you're very, very pampered. But yeah, it's okay. We love his presence, and I think he's such a great asset. But really wanted to give a shout out to Akshay too, because spoke about Wikibee as an inspiration ever since I was growing up and playing football and all that, and he told me a little bit about Iheanacho. But then I also remember just before the deadline, he called me. I don't know for some. I think he called me for some take-ons on the. They were actually not doing actually they were doing the review session last week, but Amit was not available or something like that, and they had to sneak me in. So just, like I said, last minute calls, and I was just deciding between Adams and Iheanacho, and I was not very sure, and I tossed up the options in front of him, and he also suggested that out of the two, Iheanacho could be a better pick. And sometimes, you believe in your friends a lot more, especially, sometimes when you're really confused and you're looking for opinions and advice, and you go to your friends and all that. So why I'm saying his name is because 1 year ago, I never thought that Akshat would explode like this. And he's just exploded so much in the field of content creation, like doing really, really good job. Anyway, boys, a great big game week coming up, a blank game week coming up.
Oh yeah, absolutely massive blank. Looking at my team, I currently have only 5 players, I guess, and so no other option. Like me personally, I do not want to take hits and field maybe 7 to 8 players, because there was an amazing graphic that was shared by Live FPL Raga Bolly. He actually shared the average number of players playing in blank game week 29 for each tier. So maybe top 100, top 10k, 100 to 10k, 200k, and similarly like that. So you can actually get an idea of how many players people already have playing. And he also kept a metric with Son and without Son. So Son is probably ruled out. So when Mourinho says no chance, no chance, there is something behind it. There is actually something behind it. If he says he's doubtful, I
Yeah.
might be skeptical that he might not feature. But when he's saying no chance, no chance, then you start double thinking all over again. So
So
Son
did
is
you
someone.
did you read his latest? Did you read his latest comment on Son? He said that he's definitely out for the Europa, and he is in big doubts for
For
the
the
match
weekend.
against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Now, big doubts doesn't mean he's out, honestly speaking. Because Mourinho has a reputation for this.
Yeah.
He has done it in the past.
And
Nobody will be
we've seen
shocked.
him recover really fast as well. If you remember the United game when he
Mm.
came back, I think Kshitij remembers it really well. So
I'd rather you do not bring that up, man. I'd rather you do not bring that up.
Even I transferred Son out for that match against United. Enjoyed
But
his
yeah,
four goal haul and then quickly shipped him out because of Mourinho's antics.
absolutely.
yeah, but without
Yeah, Akshay, you were
beating around the
saying.
bush, I was just about to walk you through my free hit draft. So I'll go first, and this is my free hit draft as of now. Just a disclaimer to all the users. So all three of us are playing free hits. So in case you are looking for transfers who you are planning to include as part of a normal transfer, a normal game week, and not a free hit, you would ideally want to look at players who are going to be playing with a decent run of fixtures going forward. So that is where the likes of maybe Jesse Lingard come into play, and you would choose him over Trossard, because if you look at Brighton's fixtures after the blank game week, it tends to get difficult, and you do not want to have a player on your bench and keep him like that. So Lingard over Trossard in that sense, and similarly Cresswell over someone like a Dunk or a Veltman maybe. So my thought going into this particular game week was actually load heavy on the Brighton defense, but ever since I saw Newcastle's post about Callum Wilson returning, I'm actually a little worried now, because he is an anti FPL player, if you like to call him, because when you have him in your team, he blanks. When you don't have him, he tends to deliver. And when you have assets against him, I think you have to be careful. So not really loading on Brighton defense as such. So probably going to start one of Martinez or Sanchez, and this could easily be Dubravka also, because I have a feeling for Dubravka, because the amount of shots that Brighton accumulate over the course of a game, and the number of saves he usually makes, I think he could be a great shout, because this game could very easily end up in a nil-nil, because Brighton, no matter how many chances they create, they are actually shambolic when it comes to finishing them. So there was an interesting stat on Brighton that the big man Bakar was actually pointing out at the FPL wire, that they are currently first in XGC in the entire league. So that's an insane stat. Like, XG conceded first in the entire league, but having said that, they are 18th in the home Premier League table as well. So basically does not walk in hand. But Brighton are certainly the team to target this game week, having because they are facing Newcastle, obviously. So my eye is on Trossard, who's the man in form, and although Neil Mopai is on penalties, probably after Pascal Gross missed one last time, so he's someone who tends to troll you every time. You get him in your team, and he'll miss so many chances that you'll get frustrated. So I wouldn't want to get someone like a Neil Mopai. And this draft was actually prepared before Bamford's news came out. So probably Bamford could be an addition to this team, because they face Fulham and Leeds. Although they have not been the same side as they were earlier, like firing all cylinders, I think they have goals in them. So personally, I would want to triple up on a lead. So in that case, I would have to remove Stoic maybe, and just change Watkins with Bamford. So that's the plan right now.
Yeah, pretty great plans as well, and I completely agree. Like, given the game week that we are about to have, I think we're just moving from a well-defined templated team of FPL to a free hit template team kind of a thing, because you just have, I think, 4 or 5 games
Yeah.
in all, and you do not really have many teams to choose from. And even if you have, say, 10 teams or 8 teams, you are likely to go, heavy on 4 or 5. And that is a situation that I've realized that I am in as well. My current team, I just know that I just can't go ahead with this. And as Akshay, you said, I am definitely going to play my free hit. My free hit is active already. Just final tinkerings to the team that we can see on the screen. I have my thought behind playing the free hit was, or like, after thinking about playing the free hit, my thought process was not to go really heavy on defense of any two teams playing each other. I wanted to go heavy on Spurs, which in turn did not, held my hand of going heavy on Aston Villa defense in Matty Cash or Target or Martinez for that matter. I do not really feel comfortable not seeing Martinez in my draft, but that is the way that I've decided to go. And between Sanchez and Darlow, I'm definitely going to go with Sanchez. Still a little bit of thinking to do. A very good shout on Dubravka as well, something for me to think about. Uh, when again this similar to your case, Akshay, this team was made before the news of Bamford came out. Definitely I myself am thinking of shipping out Struik and Antonio for Patrick Bamford and another defender who is not really likely to play. I think that I'll play Dallas, Dunk, and Reguilon with a big, massive midfield of 4. Uh, I think I'm in two minds whether to bench El Ghazi or Rafinha, given that both of them can explode on their given day. I'm not really very happy, or say very firm, about Aubameyang and Lacazette both in my team, because I've seen that either one of them starts and generally the other one comes off the bench. So all in all, I think the thought process behind the free hit is, you know, to accumulate kind of differentials in your team, because you do not, all the big hitters will definitely be in everybody else's team who's going to free hit. There's Bale, there's Kane, there's Aubameyang and Lacazette, Lingard and Antonio, there's Bamford and Rafinha. These are some handful players which you'll find in majority of the teams, as I'm sure Anand would also be talking about his thought process, and I definitely like to hear from him as well, because I see that he still has Bamford. But yeah, that was my, all in all, my you know, thought process. But definitely I absolutely agree with Akshay. If the fellow FPL community is looking for not a free hit transfer but a transfer in the long run, definitely look for the upcoming game weeks in 30 to 33. That is something that will really be impactful, given that we have a blank game week coming up for City and Spurs in game week 33 as well. So keep an eye on that. So that, those are my plans for free hit. I do have high hopes. I hope that at least I touch 70, 80, so that at least one of my chips work for me. Bench boost did not. Wildcard, first wildcard did not. Hopefully free hit does the trick, and then subsequently I carry this luck for triple captain wildcard as well. Yeah, that those are my plans. Looking forward to game week 29. But Anand, I see Tierney back in your team, and there have been talks about how Odegaard, you willing to get him in your team. What are your thought process, and what are your plans playing the free hit in game week 29?
So I think Brighton, I agree as well. Brighton defensively they look decent, but Newcastle, they're fighting to come out of the relegation zone, and because of that, I really don't know how that game's gonna pan out, because Newcastle will look to score. They look decent against Villa towards the end of the match. So yeah, the likes of Jack Murphy and all, they were creating some buzz over there. And yes, right now I have not included players from three teams. That is Fulham, West Ham, and Newcastle. Now the thought process is a little bit because of the fact that I'm expecting Leeds and Fulham to be a goal fest. The last time they met in the Premier League, it was a 4-3, where Leeds came on top. Why I have Dallas is because even if Fulham does end up scoring, Dallas has great potential to return, and he has scored 5 goals already this season, and that's something and I really like Dallas over there. Welshman, again, the guy has been doing well in the last few games, and he was playing right wing back as well, but now Burn is injured, so there are concerns whether he'll drop in the centre back line. So that is a concern a little bit, but still, we've seen Cresswell play as a left centre back as well, but still making some really good deliveries in the box. So Welshman might have a similar thing. I'm really, kind of not expecting a lot from West Ham, because Arsenal, they will try and attack. It's a very, very important match, and for West Ham as well. But then Arsenal, they're looking in good form as well. And, we've seen how West Ham plays against an attacking team. They usually try and defend deep. And that is something which I am a little bit concerned about. I know that West Ham can be a threat on set pieces and probably on some counters with Antonio playing up top. But then overall, it's mostly about praying that please God, give them a head, give them a corner goal or something like that. And I really want to enjoy the match. Just 4 matches this week, and I really want to bring in players from attacking teams. Can backfire, as it has done so many times this season, with the likes of Harry Kane and DCL scoring points, and me not bringing them solely because of this reason, that they play for a very defensive team. Massive respect for the likes of Kane, DCL, or anybody else. For example, Cresswell or Antonio. I really like them as players, but just the style, it doesn't go well with me. Rather, it's better to watch your player miss a chance or two, but also it's better to see them get chances. At least for me, that is how I play the game. Odegaard has been a revelation. Aubameyang is a big, big risk, and might But then again, might bring him or might remove him. But this feels like this is the game week for him. If Arsenal does end up attacking, then probably he will get some returns. He was well rested. Some disciplinary issues, couldn't play the last match, so now he's well rested. So we'll keep an eye on the Europa.
Yeah.
Are they still in Europa?
Yep. They have a
Yeah,
game
yeah.
against Olympiacos. Yeah.
So yeah, just we'll keep an eye on that, and accordingly we'll make a change. Regarding forwards, I have retained the services of Bamford, Watkins, so I will keep them. Although Watkins has looked really frustrating of late, especially without Grealish in the team. But there are news surfacing and some hints dropped by John Terry on the Twitter community, that Grealish might be back. Um, there are some players with whom you don't. For example, when KDB was back, the moment he came back, he scored a goal. So I put Grealish in that sort of category. Different player, not a prolific assist king like KDB, but what stands out about Grealish is he really likes driving with ball, and the defense that Spurs has, if Grealish drives on them, then yeah, he definitely has a chance. Because Aston Villa has done pretty well against the big teams this season. Yes, they've lost as well, but they've done pretty well. They've earned the respect of all teams. And if Grealish is back, irrespective if Grealish is back or not, Aston Villa will create a few chances for what. But if Grealish is back, probably the chances will go a little bit higher as well. So that's what I'm thinking. Tierney, I just had to bring him in because the last year I played free hit in game week 38 plus, and Tierney played against Watford and he had a massive haul, scored a goal and gave an assist as well. So just some emotional connection with Tierney over there, some free hit connection with him, and just want to have him back in the team. And he looked really good against Spurs in the last match. And Spurs and West Ham, ring some bells about how they play. They're pretty defensive, both teams, especially even if they score a goal or something, both the teams like to defend deep. And if Arsenal could do it against Spurs, then I fancy Arsenal can do it again against West Ham. So yeah, this is what I'm thinking. And if Son is fit, if before the match, if Mourinho comes out and says that maybe Son has, I don't know if he'll say that he's a chance, but if I can read between the lines and if Mourinho can say that maybe let's see how it goes and all that stuff, then I'll probably end up bringing in Bale as well. I don't know who at the moment because I'm content with Aubameyang, Odegaard, Grealish at the moment, Rafinha as well. And like you see, the bench is heavy. Even if Grealish and Son, they don't play, I have Reguilon and I have Dunk who will be on my bench, so they'll come in. So yeah, this is mostly about it, boys. Anything worrying over here? For sure, the looks of Grealish and Son in yellow and red are worrying for sure. But anything else you have in your mind about this team?
I think if Son is a doubt, you can probably just do a straight swap to Bale and you'll be fine there. But coming to Grealish, if he is fit, I think he's an amazing shout because he'll be against Doherty, and we've seen how Doherty struggles against tricky wingers. And another thing about Grealish is he'll be hungry after all the news and about him being out, the news being leaked, and all the drama that followed. I think he'll be hungry to come back and shut everyone up. So kind of a player like that, a peaky blinder in our own. So I think he would want to come back and like show his true self.
Yeah, I agree as well. The main concern for me looking at this team is the flags on Grealish and Son. If I were you, Anand, I think I would definitely keep Grealish, but I think I would agree with Akshay with the straight swap for Bale. But yeah, like you mentioned as well that you have a heavy bench, so it is not a problem if you have a gut feeling about Son and he does not end up playing. You will definitely not lose points. So there's definitely a safe cushion as well. But I mean, Bamford, yeah, I think I will have to get him back in my team. So there's a little bit of tinkering to be done for my team personally. But you're looking at your team, looking at the bench strength that you have and the players that you want to field for Game Week 29, does look like a great team. It's been a good discussion about the free hit strategies that we have. And for all of the FPL managers, if you are into statistics and stats, and if you want to not only go by our gut feel and what we have to say, we also have a new section on this episode where we are quickly going to go through over the best 3 FPL assets in each position given the statistics. So Anand, very quickly, what do you feel about our top 3 picks in each of playing position?
Yeah, so if Son is back, I think Kane has to be the best asset. Yes, if Son's not there, then there are question marks about Kane, especially about the number of chances he'll get. Yes, his conversion is phenomenal, but yes, and price is not a worry. So I think it will be a little bit stupid to go against Kane. Also, if you can see the rating meter over here, so we have calculated the rankings of all the players and ranked them. For example, Kane is ranked 1 for goals out of the 3 strikers, and he's even ranked 1 for Kane. So the cumulative and the average rating, so whatever is closer to 1 has the highest. So you can see Kane at the moment, as per our meter, he's rated number 1. And this is solely based on statistics and not on eye test at all. But as per statistics, Kane is rated number 1. And you can see Antonio comes second and Watkins is in 2.3. So he's third at the moment. But yeah, I think Kane has to be favorite. When it comes to midfielders, it's a tricky one. But I think Rafinha, his rating is good as well. As per rating, he is number 1, 2. And I think Rafinha has a really nice fixture. I think he has the best fixture out of all the teams, especially because both are championship teams that got promoted to Premier League this season. So there'll be a little bit of rivalry over there. So let's see how that goes. When it comes to defenders, yes, the rating suggests Cresswell is the best. But I would choose Rafinha's teammate, and I'll choose Dallas over there, especially because he's not done a bad job than Cresswell this season. While Cresswell has assisted 10, that's humongous. But then Dallas attacking return is not less. He scored 5 and assisted twice 2. So there are 8 returns to Dallas's name as well. So that I feel Dallas is a good pick too. Also regarding Leeds, Robin Koch is back. He played for the under-23s, and Llorente has been playing really well of late. He had a good performance against Chelsea as well, and he's been looking sharp in terms of passing too. If you guys remember, just a game back, he passed a beautiful through ball to Bamford, who missed it unfortunately. Yeah. That was a beautiful through ball by Llorente. Regarding keeper, I mean, I think I need to be sentenced for not picking up Martinez here. I mean, I feel so scared right now that no, I'm not going for Martinez this week. But yeah, Martinez will be on my bench, and I'll be happy if he gets a clean sheet. That'll just because that is going to destroy a lot of teams. Imagine Martinez getting clean sheet against Spurs. But yes, Martinez is so good. If Martinez has to be beaten, it has to be a special goal, and Harry Kane and the likes of Bale and Son, they do have that in their locker. But yes, I'm going to go with Sanchez. In terms of rating, he looks good too. Well, Martinez is not behind. He's
they're bang neck and neck. Yeah,
absolutely. So I mean, really scared, like I just said about Martinez. But if Son's fit, or even if Son's not fit, Spurs attackers, they do have great attacking prowess. Even with the limited chances they'll get if Mourinho tries to shut his shop. While Sanchez, I think, again, it's a very difficult tie, like we discussed earlier as well. Newcastle is also trying to move away from the relegation zone, while at the same time, Brighton's in a very similar position as well, despite playing so well this season. unlike Newcastle. But yes, I still do feel that Brighton has enough to hold Newcastle. It's it's just on the basis of the fact that Wilson's still injured. The chances that Wilson might not feature here, although he's back in training, but what sort of training is that? Like what I was hearing from Ben Dennery was that he might not make it this week, but we never know. We've seen strange things happen before. But yeah, I think as of now, I'm kind of fixed on Sanchez for the keeper slot for this particular game week. What about you both? Who are your top picks from each of the categories?
I personally pretty much agree with your selections, but like when I look at, like we've already discussed, there are only 4 games, 8 teams are playing, and when you look at those games and teams from an FPL asset perspective, there only come a bunch of, a handful of players which you actually can get in your team on the longer run. If you're playing a free hit, you have kind of a set template that you want to target some teams that, like I already said, but definitely I completely agree, Anand. Like Sanchez, from the goalkeeper's perspective, does look like the best shout from a logical standpoint, where kind of has the the easiest game, wherein Ariola faces Leeds and Martinez faces Spurs, which we know some of them teams to be a little defensive, but like if Brighton is playing against Newcastle, you can hope for a clean sheet as well. But yeah, when I look at these 12 names, I feel like these do make up quite a great template of all the FPL assets and players that any manager, be it playing a free hit or just wanting or has a couple of transfers and a -4 in his bank and willing to take, can definitely look at any of these FPL assets and then definitely go for him. That is what my opinion is. Akshay, what do you feel about these assets, man?
So one player we haven't spoken of much in this episode is Jesse Lingard. So he's up against Arsenal, and being United fans, we know how much he loves facing Arsenal, and he loves the dance against Arsenal, doesn't he? So even the last game, like when we played West Ham, they looked lack of imagination and lack of creativity in that midfield. So probably because they are accustomed to playing with Lingard, like Anand also mentioned. So them missing Lingard is a huge thing for them right now, because when you have a new player, like you can see with Arsenal and Odegaard. So when Odegaard is playing, they play a different brand of football, and similar to that, like when West Ham have Jesse Lingard in their team, they play a different brand of football. So the likes of Jared Bowen and 𝗧𝗘𝗏𝗏, I don't think they offer that much, because Lingard is someone who actually drives the ball, and he draws a lot of defenders as well. So that actually in turn helps the fullbacks and creating space on the flanks, and eventually ending up creating more chances for Antonio as well. So Jesse Lingard is someone who I actually am looking at right now, and he's actually one of the players who you can get him, like even as part of a normal transfer, not on a free hit, because he's pretty much the fulcrum of that West Ham team, and they are scoring a lot of goals along with clean sheets as well. So he's one player who I am looking at right now. And while you guys were speaking, I just added all the prices for these players here, and you can actually pick all of them in your free draft. So we have actually made a free draft for you in terms of the top players for each bracket. So Aubameyang is someone who's a doubt because of what happened in the last game, because of the disciplinary issues. But I feel that he'll start for Arsenal in the Europa game, and him starting the Europa game would ideally mean that he gets a start in the Premier League game as well, because I don't see him being rotated in alternate games, because one game is enough for punishment. Like you do that to the club captain, and everyone is set an example. I think that's good enough for him to take that. And even looking at the training pictures of Arsenal, I think he looks a happy man. So he knows what he's done wrong. So I personally feel Aubameyang bags a goal, and he's been very cheeky with his celebrations. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does something like this. So I would love that. And coming to defenders, I think Dallas is a great shout, because even though Leeds are not sure of conceding, like are not sure of guaranteeing a clean sheet, but him driving from midfield and getting at the edge of the box with those chances, I think he can get a lot of shots as well. So Dallas is a great shout, and yeah, pretty much it. So we don't have Bamford here because this was actually prepared before the Bamford news came out that he's probably fit. And even though Bielsa says that he's fit, he actually said that in the last game as well. And Bamford actually suffered a knock pretty early into the game. He tried to continue, but he couldn't. So you could see the same pattern in this game week as well. So I would like to not go for Bamford probably because he has that injury in him. So you never know, it might come back. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have tried our best to give our viewers and our listeners the best free hit FPL assets for Gaming 29 that we can. But yeah, it's been great talking about the FPL asset. But before we wrap up this episode, really quickly, Anand, this like we've been talking so much about how this FPL free hit might be a template team, but there is something that can never be template. You can have many managers go for a player, and that is the captain pick. And in such game weeks, I feel the captain pick definitely will turn the tide for a lot of FPL managers. Right now, at this moment, Anand, who is your captain pick for game week 29?
This season, at the start of the season, in second game week, Oba played West Ham and he returned with an assist too. So yeah, I mean West Ham's not a bad team, but then Arsenal's not a bad team either. Like yeah, defensively they've been struggling for sure, but they have enough players in their team to trouble West Ham, and especially the style of play. That's good. Arsenal's style of play is really good. At least they're trying to play attractive football, so that's something I like. And Harry Kane will always be the firm favorite. So yeah, if Spurs do well in the Europa, if the likes of Harry Kane they get a rest, if Bale does well against in Europa, although I'm not mostly regarding Europa, I'm just more concerned about the lineups, like how much time will they play, how much minutes will they spend, and accordingly I'll take a clock call. Also, we'll be waiting for Grealish, the news on Grealish, what's going to happen with him, and then if Grealish plays, then probably I'll go with Oba. But if there are news that Grealish might not play, then I'll probably move towards Kane. Yeah.
Makes sense. Akshay, what about you, man? I personally am torn between a Spurs asset and a Leeds asset, between Bamford, Rafinha, and Kane. Do you and Bale as well? Are you in the same boat, or do you have some any other picks going into Game Week 29?
So what I feel is since all of us are on a free hit and what the ideology behind you playing a free hit is probably just move away from the crowd. So my thought behind the captaincy pick is probably someone who's not in many teams. So if you look at Harry Kane, he's probably in everyone's team right now, and the injury news with Son makes it even more easy for people to captain Kane if they have him in the team. So Kane is someone who I am not looking to captain because that's pretty much a very safe pick. So looking at an upside, and my current captain is Rafinha. So I feel that he has a haul in him which is long time due, and creating so many chances with Bamford coming back probably into his goal scoring best as well. And I just hope Tyler Roberts does not start because he tends to hog a lot of chances. And if Rodrigo starts alongside Bamford, I think Rafinha is in for a haul. So this was something Gabriel also pointed out, FPL Lens in his matchups, that Fulham do tend to concede a lot of chances because of their left back bombing forward. So Rafinha playing down the right will see him get a lot of freedom in that space, and could see him at the end of chances as well. So Rafinha is my current captain, but I am tempted by Aubameyang as well. But the only thing taking me away from Aubameyang captain is probably his Europa game. So what I feel is he will start the Europa game, so that could see him like not so sharp against West Ham maybe. So my captain right now is Rafinha. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have the, liberty, and thankfully we'll be able to watch Arsenal play Europa today before we make any final decisions, and we'll get to see the teams as well. But definitely a great upside to your point, Akshay, with wherein you are wanting to captain the likes of Rafinha or Bamford, given that you want to go differential. That is the reason that most of the people play free hit. But yeah, that still remains to be seen as to how the press conferences go and what managers say about their FPL assets. And yeah, 4 game weeks, really going to be not a great weekend right now, because we'll have so limited football to watch. But with that being said, definitely look forward to game week 29, a big blank, and a lot of red and green arrows might be coming our way. And to all of our listeners and supporters, thank you so much for tuning in. All of our social media links are in down in the description. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and we all hope that you have a great game week 29. And as always, have a good one, and may the arrows be green. Cheers.
Cheers.